above the Rocky Mountains, Brett Summers' private jet streaked through the clear blue sky. The wealthy young businessman loved to fly. He felt so free cruising at 20,000 feet. There, beyond harm's reach, nothing could trouble him. Suddenly, as he gazed into the distance, it seemed as if a cloud was materializing out of the thin air. The billowy gray form got bigger and bigger, like an approaching storm hovering ominously over the horizon. Summer checked his radar and was puzzled to find no trace of the mass looming before his eyes. As he headed closer and closer to the cloud, it appeared to be taking on strange but distinctive features, like that of a gigantic face. He could see a pair of dark, foreboding eyes glaring back at him, eyebrows knitted malevolently with a scowling mouth. Summers' hands were locked on the controls, a cold sweat trickling down his face. What he was seeing couldn't be real. Yet, when the face in the cloud opened its mouth, revealing a deep, dark passage into God knows where, Sumner knew he had to take evasive action. He couldn't go around the cloud, and there wasn't enough time to fly over it. He was heading straight into the black limbo between the face's gaping lips. He had nowhere to go but below the cloud. He pushed the controls forward and took the jet into an angular dive. Down and down he plunged as the cloud was getting closer and closer. It closed within 5 miles. 4, 3, 2, 1. And with only a few feet to spare, Summer managed to glide beneath the bottom of the cloud, crashing with tremendous force against the jutting mountain peak, his jet exploding in a ball of flame. Doug and Sally strolled through the carnival.
Oh, Doug, this is so much fun.
I'm glad you like it, Sally. Gosh, it seems like we've done everything. Wait, we haven't seen the sideshow yet.
Oh, please, Doug, no.
Come on, Sally. You've got a big, strong man to protect you. Taking Sally's arm, Doug led her to the sideshow. On the dimly lit wooden stage was a series of cages. Dark shapes rustled in their beds of straw.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fantastic freak show, featuring in this very cage the deadly Scorpion Man.
It had a human head and shiny armor-plated legs and claws. Its long tail had 2 sharp prongs, dripping with venom.
Legend says the Scorpion Man feeds on lost travelers. With a flick of his tail, he paralyzes his victim, and as the flesh turns to jelly, the Scorpion Man sucks it up.
Take me home, Doug. I don't like this.
Don't be silly. It's all fake anyway. I'll prove it to you. Soon the show was over. When all was dark, Doug took Sally around to the backstage. Come on, it's just a guy in a costume. They found the cage. Doug lifted the latch and entered, taking Sally with him. Watch this, Sally. Hey, you, take off that Halloween costume. I know you're just a man. The scorpion grabbed Doug with its strong claws. Its forked tail lashed up, piercing Doug's eyes.
The door's locked. Somebody let me out.
A swarm of tiny creatures crawled out of the straw. Baby, scorpion.
You fools! I got a plan!
Something too hideous to imagine was just outside the door. As it twisted and turned the knob, little Simon Porter cringed in a corner. He was all alone in the eerie mansion from which there was no escape.
It's okay. I know this is just a dream. I'm scared, but nothing terrible is going to happen to me. All this will disappear when I wake up, and everything will be all right.
Just then, the thing beyond the door smashed its fist through a wood panel. A gnarled claw, dripping blood, reached in and groped for the knob. The door swung open, and in walked Simon's ultimate nightmare. The creature had the head of a rat and the body of a reptile, but it walked like a man and had the cunning of a fiend. Its eyes were glowing white, its mouth foaming. It was hungry, and it was moving slowly towards Simon.
You're not real. This is only a dream. Only a dream.
Suddenly, Simon awoke, gasping for breath. He found himself sitting up in bed, alone in his own room. A wave of relief swept over him and settled his frayed nerves.
Phew. Wow, is that some nightmare?
Yes, and it's not over.
Simon flinched. Standing beside him was the monster, its claws reaching out to grab him. He tumbled out of bed and ran to the door, but it was locked. He turned with his back to the wall and gaped at the horrible beast as it advanced toward him.
I'm still dreaming.
A dream within a dream, and you'll keep dreaming. You see, Simon, you were in a coma, and it'll be a long time before you wake up, if you ever wake up. Until then, it's just you and me
Dr. Paul Mansfield had encountered quite a few strange cases as a criminal psychologist, but none as strange as that of Timothy Carver. Alone with the prisoner in his office at the Institute for the Criminally Insane, Dr. Mansfield tried to learn why the seemingly harmless young man had murdered his entire family.
Tell me, Timothy, was there something that happened in your childhood that made you resent your parents? Were you jealous of your younger brothers and sisters?
No, of course not.
Well, then why did you kill them?
I told you 100 times I didn't kill him. It was my shadow.
Oh, come now. You know that shadows can't hurt people. Shadows are nothing more than silhouettes. They don't have a mind or will of their own. They're illusions. Don't you see, Timothy? You couldn't bear the fact that you killed your family, so you blamed it on something else, the darker side of yourself.
It was my shadow. My shadow killed him. Mansfield was relieved that Carver was strapped to his chair in a straitjacket. It was obvious that the man was a raving lunatic, and yet Mansfield felt it was necessary to dispel his delusions.
I'm going to prove that your shadow is harmless.
Without warning, the psychologist turned on his desk lamp and trained the glaring light on Carver, casting his shadow on a nearby wall. No, what are you doing? He'll kill you. Turn off the light. Turn off the light. Suddenly, the shadow on the wall came to life. It stepped forth and crossed the room, a black form in the shape of a man, heading for Mansfield's desk. He reached for the light switch, but before he could turn it off, the shadow grabbed his wrist with one hand and his throat with the other. As the phantom choked the life out of yet another victim, Carver cried out in helpless anguish, "No! No, not again! Not again! Ah!" Colonel Deegan put his feet up and lit a cigar. The war raged outside. His men were dying like flies, but he was happy. It didn't matter to him. What mattered was they followed orders.
It's a good life, Deegan, old man. Boys respect you. They'll do anything for your next promotion. They'd rather fight than go to jail. Good American boys.
He must have sent 10,000 men out there to die. So what? Plenty more where they came from.
Sounds like we're losing ground. Better place an order for more support. Hello? Hello? Deegan calling Central 1. Come in, Central 1.
He heard a voice, but it wasn't coming from the phone.
No more, Deegan.
Who said that?
We did, Deegan. Your boy. Deegan's flesh went cold. Out of nowhere, bodies appeared. Soldiers in full military gear. Horribly mutilated corpses of the men he had sent to their deaths.
Don't you remember me, Deegan?
Oh, me, Deegan.
You made us look for Viet Cong grenades. Remember what you said? We're picking pineapples today, boys. Go out there.
This is a trick, right? Come on, boys.
No trick, Deegan. One of your pineapples blew a hole in my stomach.
You made me pick one up. It blew up in my face.
Now we're giving the orders.
Deegan couldn't move. Helpless and terrified, he watched the faceless ghost take a grenade from his belt. A real grenade. It's pineapple season, Deegan.
Please, no, spare me, please.
That's not funny.
Not funny at all, Deegan. Deegan tried to scream, but the ghost jammed the grenade into his mouth and pulled the pin.
Pineapples, Deegan.
So, Mr. Big Spender, what did you get me for our anniversary this year?
Oh, Rachel, does it really matter? You're never satisfied with anything I buy.
Well, Richard, that's because you have such poor taste in presents.
You mean like the mink stole I got you last year?
I wanted a coat.
Or the 10-carat diamond ring I bought you the year before?
I wanted a 20-carat stone.
Or the sports car I bought you the year before that?
It was blue. I wanted a red one.
It's the thought that counts, dear.
Oh, quit stalling. Where's my latest disappointment?
Right here, sweetheart.
Richard handed his wife a small box neatly wrapped with a red ribbon.
Looks rather meager.
You know what they say. Good things come in small packages.
Rachel hastily opened her present, then glanced at her husband with her usual dismay.
A plain necklace, Richard?
A choker, my dear.
What's so special about a choker?
Allow me to put it on you, darling, and you'll find out.
Richard wrapped the chain around his wife's neck, but instead of clipping it on, he began to strangle her with it.
Richard, what are you doing? You're hurting me. Richard, I can't breathe. Richard.
The perfect gift to the woman who has everything, but appreciates nothing. A choker.
Judith Appleton couldn't have asked for a better boarder than Mr. Gray, a perfect gentleman. He said he worked at night and slept during the day, and his only request was that he not be disturbed from sun-up to sundown. But the nosy landlady wanted to know much more about the mysterious young man. One evening after he had left, Mrs. Appleton used her passkey to enter Mr. Gray's room. What she found was a large cedar chest, which he himself had bought when he moved in, containing nothing more than a handful of dirt. Mrs. Appleton decided to confront Mr. Gray with her discovery and waited up for him, but fell asleep and was awakened shortly before dawn by the sound of footsteps on the creaky staircase leading up to Mr. Gray's room. Mrs. Appleton followed the sound and heard his door close. She hurried down the corridor in pursuit and rapped gently on the door.
Mr. Gray, it's Mrs. Appleton. May I have a word with you?
There was no response from within, so she knocked again, harder. When Mr. Gray failed to answer, Mrs. Appleton used her key to open the door. She was startled to find no one in the room.
Mr. Gray, are you there? Mr. Gray?
Mrs. Appleton looked everywhere, but there was no trace of Mr. Gray. She sat down on the seated chest and noticed a patch of cloth caught in the lid. She stood up and slowly raised the lid of the chest. What she found made her gasp. There lay Mr. Gray, fully dressed, and his eyes closed and his arms crossed as if laid to rest in a coffin. Suddenly, his eyes opened, his lips spreading in a grin that revealed a pair of razor-sharp fangs. He sat up and grabbed Mrs. Appleton by the wrist, twisting it until she knelt beside him in pain. Before sinking his fangs into her soft white neck, he snarled.
This, madam, will be the first and the last time you'll ever disturb my sleep.
Locked in his apartment, Donald Sanders kept a nerve-wracking vigil. According to the fortune teller he had visited the day before, he would not live to see midnight. Others would scoff at such a prophecy, but Sanders wasn't taking any chances. He consulted his wristwatch. It was 11:50 p.m. If he could stay alive just 10 minutes more, everything would be fine. Suddenly, the telephone rang. At first, he refused to pick it up, worried that a freak accident could befall him. But as the phone rang again and again, his intuition told him that the call was important. Cautiously, he picked up the receiver.
Yes? Hello?
Don, it's Karen. Listen to me. My husband found out about us. He's on the way over to your apartment. I think he intends to. Oh, Don, he's got a gun.
Sanders felt a momentary rush of fear. Then he glanced at his watch. It was 11:55.
Are you okay? Did he...
I'm fine. Just get out of there as fast as you can.
Karen abruptly hung up, leaving Sanders with a dilemma. Did he dare venture from the apartment before midnight, or should he stay put and face an irate spouse with a lethal weapon? He decided to stall. Open up, Sanders. I know you're in there.
Just a minute, please. 11:59. What am I going to do?
Open the door before I kick it down. Sanders had no intention of confronting Karen's husband. With only seconds till midnight, he rushed to his bedroom window. Just as he stepped onto the fire escape, he checked his watch. It was midnight, and he was still alive. Laughing with relief, he started descending the metal stairway. Glancing at a clock at the tower, he froze. It was only 11:59. This meant his watch had been running fast. In his confusion, Sanders lost his footing and tumbled over the railing, plummeting 50 feet to the pavement below. Just as he hit the ground, splattering his head against the sidewalk, the clock in the tower began to toll. J.P. Harrington sat triumphantly at the head of the long table, addressing the board of directors of the company he had just acquired in a hostile takeover.
You all know why I called this meeting. As the new chairman of the board of Westport Enterprises, I've decided to make some drastic changes. To start with, you're all fired. And as of tomorrow, my people will be in charge. You have a question, Mr. Kendall?
Sir, most of us have been with this company for 20, 30 years. What's to become of us?
That's your problem. Frankly, I could care less what happens to any of you.
We assumed that would be your attitude, Mr. Harrington, so we came up with a plan of our own. Kendall got up from his seat and walked over to the window overlooking the city skyline.
What do you think you're doing, Kendall?
Opening the window, sir. As he did so, the rest of the board members rose from their seats and approached Harrington. They each took hold of the tycoon, lifted him from his chair, and dragged him toward the open window.
What's going on here? Get your hands off of me. What kind of stunt are you pulling, Kendall?
No stunt, Mr. Harrington. We're just going to give you the send-off you deserve.
But it's 50 stories down.
Yes, that should do the trick.
You can't be serious. What is murder? You'll all hang.
Not murder, Mr. Harrington. Suicide. We intend to tell the police you had a nervous breakdown and jumped before anyone could stop you. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
No, please, don't. No.
Standing on a busy street corner, Willie Crane reached into his pocket and removed his stolen prize. A short while ago, he had snatched a gold chain from the neck of a young woman on a subway train just as the doors were about to close. The thief made a clean escape from the station, getting lost in the city crowd. Safe from capture, he gloatingly admired his glittering trinket.
Like stealing candy from a baby. This'll fetch a handsome price down at the old pawn shop.
Just then, a passerby bumped into Willie, knocking the chain out of his hand. He watched helplessly in horror as it fell through the gutter and slipped through a sewer grating.
Oh, no.
Willie fell on his hands and knees along the curb and stared down into the dark hole, desperately searching for the chain. There it was, resting on a ledge within arm's reach. Willie wasted no time squeezing his hand between the narrow bars of the grating and reached down to retrieve the precious string of gold.
Just a few more inches. I can almost feel it.
But as his fingers closed around the chain, Willie looked down and saw a pair of huge red eyes glaring back at him through the darkness. Before he could pull his hand away, a cold, wet claw clutched his wrist and tugged violently on his outstretched arm.
Hey! Something's got a hold of my arm. Help! Hey, somebody help me!
Dozens of people hurried by, most of them ignoring his plea, others too wary of him to bother. Struggling to break free, Willie looked down again to see the gold chain slip through his fingers and splash into the murky depths of the sewer. Then horribly sharp fangs appeared and mercilessly began to devour his arm to the bone.
No!
No one knew why so many pets were disappearing in the small town of Wicker Falls. No one, that is, except Joey Barker, whose favorite pastime was hunting and torturing all the poor creatures he could get his hands on. While walking down the street one day in search of mischief, Joey crossed paths with a stray mutt. No sooner had he spotted the animal than his twisted mind hatched an evil scheme.
Here, doggy. Nice little doggy. Come on over here. I've got something for you.
Sensing Joey's real intent, the canine hesitated, crouching in suspicion.
Come on, boy. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to bash your brains in.
Joey lunged for the dog. It took off, retreating down the street. Angered, Joey pursued his quarry, dodging cars and leaping over fences as the frightened animal scampered from one end of town to the other. The chase finally came to a climax with the dog trapped in a dead end, Joey blocking its only means of escape.
Stupid dog. Now what are you going to do, huh?
Joey picked up a wooden board to use as a club and slowly approached the growling canine. But as he moved in for the kill, he failed to realize that it was he who had been trapped. For when he drew close to the animal, the dog began to bark. It wasn't a bark of defiance, but a signal. Suddenly, Joey heard a chorus of howls and yelps. He paused and turned around to see a whole pack of wild dogs pouring into the alley, their drooling fangs lusting for revenge.
No, get back! Hey, don't come near me! Help!
The pack was upon him before Joey could do anything to defend himself. His desperate cries drowned out by their deafening barks, their claws savagely ripping into his flesh. In a matter of minutes, their sharp teeth stripped him to the bone as if he were nothing more than a piece of meat. As the editor of Vintage Magazine, Brian Schofield had tried in vain to arrange an interview with the reclusive Sebastian Rinaldo, the leading wine producer. Curious as to why Rinaldo's vineyard flourished during a drought that had destroyed the crop of competing wine growers in his region, Schofield had to resort to extreme measures to get an answer. While trespassing on Rinaldo's property, Brian was seized by security guards and taken to Rinaldo's home. There, Rinaldo conducted his own interrogation.
Who are you and what are you doing here?
I'm Brian Schofield, the man you've been avoiding for the last several weeks.
Ah, yes, the nosy editor.
I thought I made it quite clear, Mr. Schofield, that I do not give interviews. Why do you persist in harassing me?
Well, my readers have a right to know why your crop is consistently superior while every other winery in this valley is drying up. I want a straight answer.
Very well, Mr. Schofield. I'll let you in on a secret. Our crop thrives because we make certain sacrifices.
What's that supposed to mean? Before he replied, Ronaldo motioned to his guards. They took one of Schofield's arms and twisted it behind his back. Hey, what's going on here?
Have you ever heard of Bacchus, Mr. Schofield, the god of grape growing and wine? But of course you have. It is he who we worship. He who provides us with such a rich and abundant crop. All we have to do is offer him certain sacrifices.
Ronaldo reached into his suit and pulled out a long silver dagger. Schofield's eyes bulged in horror, but before he could utter a plea, Ronaldo drove the knife deep into his heart. As he withdrew the bloody blade and wiped it clean, Sebastian instructed his faithful servants.
Bury him on the far side of the vineyard, along with all of the rest.
On his way home from work, Charlie Calhoun decided to stop by Angelo's barbershop for a shave and some conversation. But when he arrived, he found no one on the premises. Hello, anybody there? Angelo? Suddenly, a strange-looking man in a barber's jacket entered from a back room. He was tall and husky, with dark, sunken eyes and a long, deep scar on his cheek. Hi, where's Angelo?
Angelo had to leave. I'm his brother Leo. Can I help you?
I just stopped by for a shave.
Sit down. I'll take care of that.
Well, maybe I ought to wait till Angelo gets back.
You may have to wait a long, long time.
Charlie shrugged and settled into the nearest barber's chair. Leo draped him with a clean white sheet, then pulled a lever, lowering Charlie to a reclining position. I've never seen you here before.
That's because I just arrived today. I was in a hospital for a long time. Angelo sent me there. Now that I'm free, I decided to come back and return the favor.
Charlie watched as Leo sharpened the edge of a gleaming straight razor on a leather strap. There was something awkward about the man's movement, a distant look in his shadowy eyes. As he approached him with the sharp, glimmering blade, Charlie realized something peculiar. Wait a second, aren't you going to use shaving cream?
That won't be necessary.
As Charlie was about to protest, Leo rammed the edge of the razor across his throat, slicing his jugular vein. Blood cascaded down the white sheet, Charlie's eyes gaping in a stunned death stare. Leo stood back to admire his work and nodded with satisfaction.
Yes, that's just the way I did it to Angelo. I always knew I'd be a good barber. They'd be so proud of me at the asylum.
Sound the alarm. Grismon has again escaped his padded cell. How? His dead heads and scars cannot tell. With a strength of 10, the asylum could not hold him. Now, frightened men and bloodhounds search the woods. This way, men! The brave lead dog finds Grismon and attacks. Soon the searchers find the dog, now just a headless body impaled on a tree branch.
Oh, my God, look what he did to Blackie.
In nearby towns, parents keep their children close, for Grismon has a known history. He kills the young. But youngsters Pat and Philip aren't aware their parents are at home. Alone in the country, they turn out the lights as they prepare to dial their moving picture horror friend, Freddy.
Ready for Freddy, Pap?
Sure, Phil.
Okay, just hang on a minute. Hey, the phone's dead.
And who shut out the lights?
I hear someone.
Maybe it's Mr. Archer. Dad said he might stop by.
No, not the good neighbor Archer.
My God, who is that?
Grismon quickly engulfs them in his powerful arms. His power breath cleans their faces as he drags them toward the window.
Help! Help! I can't see who it is.
Who are you?
Look how poor little Phil struggles to reach the light switch. So they want to see Grismon. They'll be sorry. And so will you, if you don't call back tomorrow for another journey into terror.
So, you're back. Brave of you. along yet. Well, Pat and Phil are in the dark, too. But be patient, my young friend. Sit back, relax, and let's continue our journey into terror.
What do you want? Put us down. Let me go.
Philip, struggling furiously, finally reaches the light switch. Grismon drops Pat and Phil to the floor. Could this massive hoax be human? Yellow foam leaking from his mouth, brown decaying teeth, alligator-like skin covering his arms, down to his claw-like hands, one eye sightless and dead, the other sees but his blood red. The children, horrified, fight back as Grismon drags them through the window. Finally, he speaks.
Grismon has car. Get in car.
He opens the car door and tosses them in like little stuffed animals.
Pat, this car. It's a funeral hearse. Oh, my God, Phil. There's a coffin in the back.
Clever, these homicidal maniacs, aren't they? His own private hearse. No taxis for our Grismon. But here's a tip for you. Come along for tomorrow's ride. Maybe there's someone in that coffin that you know. Or did know. Count your friends lately.
Back again, my young friend. Pat and Phil are in the back seat of Grismon's hearse, about to open the coffin. Now, Phil raises the coffin's heavy lid.
Don't look, Pat, don't look.
Phil, tell me they're not real.
All that blood.
Human heads and deadly real. Two of Grismon's more recent sculptures. The severed bloody heads of two asylum guards. Eyes locked in dazed, frozen stares.
Calm down.
I can't. He's going to kill us, too.
Grismon grows tired of Pat's hysteria. Stop crying. You annoy me.
Please.
Grismon turns to start the car. Where is he taking them now? Pat is nervously shaking in the back seat of the hearse. Phil sits next to the head-filled coffin.
Phil, he stopped the car.
Pat, listen. It sounds like a circus.
Circus. Many people. Many heads.
Are you crazy? You can't walk into a crowd and kill people.
Grismon, angered by Phil, reaches his claw-like hands into the back seat. Suddenly, Grismon raises the glass window between the front and back seats.
He's locking us in. What's he going to do?
Brave, brave Phil. I wish him well. If he can just keep his head while all about him lose theirs. Hear from you tomorrow, or perhaps you'll head for safety. So sweet of you to call. Today we're at the circus with our friend Grismon. He's going hunting. Head hunting. Grismon has locked Pat and Phil in the back seat of his hearse.
Please, don't let us out of here.
He now walks towards the big tent. Circus. Many people. Many heads.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the center ring are both the Magnificent and Leo, the biggest lion in the world.
Just your normal happy day at the circus. But then nobody invited Grismon. The circus tent has fallen down. People are running for their lives.
Get him, Leo. Get that hideous-looking man.
With a command from his master, Leo runs across the center ring and leaps onto Grismon's chest, placing his razor-sharp teeth around Grismon's exposed neck, reacting instantly, using the strength of a madman. Grismon places two fingers directly into the lion's eyes, popping out the eyeballs like marbles. He grasps the animal's huge head and with a sudden powerful twist, snaps the lion's neck. Just your normal day at the circus. Well, why don't you head out and play now, my little one? Tomorrow's another day. Or is it?
in the rear of the windowless hearse plot their escape.
Now's our chance to get away, Phil.
But how do we get out of here? This glass is too hard to break.
Try kicking it.
Okay, good idea.
Oh, it's just too thick. Oh, hurry, hurry. He may be back any minute.
Meanwhile, our friend Grisman has just broken the neck of Leo, the world's largest lion. Turmoil abounds.
Look what that guy did to Leo.
Take me away.
Where's my Leo? Where is he?
Oh, Leo is there. Over there on the floor.
My God, where is his head?
Meanwhile, Phil strains to think of a way to break the glass divider.
Pat, I got it, but you're not going to like it.
With that, Phil begins prying open the cover to the coffin beside them.
What are you doing?
Pat, I have to do it. It's the only way.
The coffin top slams as Phil holds the head of one of the decapitated guards by the hair.
I've got to use this skull to break the glass.
No, don't, Phil, don't.
Yes, we've done it. Let's climb to the front.
Pat and Phil get to the front seat and quickly reach the handles to open the doors.
They're locked.
Phil, look, here he comes. Oh, what's that bloody thing in his hand?
My God, it's a lion's head.
Yes, my little one. Our friend Grisman's no dummy. He knows 3 heads are better than none. Hear from you tomorrow, if you have the nerve. When Grisman the madman prowls the city, I'm afraid people lose their heads, and Grisman collects them. How long will Philip and Patricia keep theirs? Grisman's funeral hearse is parked in front of the stage door of the Municipal Opera House. It will be a memorable night, I promise you. The arriving singers pass the old stage doorman seated at his desk.
Good evening, Pop.
Big audience tonight, Pop?
A third singer pats old Pop on the head. Pop's head falls from his neck and rolls to the floor.
Oh, my God.
Meanwhile, Patricia and Philip are locked in a dressing room.
Pat, Grisman must know this opera house. That old stage doorman knew him.
And he knew his way around the circus, too. What's it mean, Phil?
I don't know. Let's yell for help.
Oh, but the opera's started. No one will hear us.
The curtain rises. A masquerade ball. The singers, masked, raise their glasses in a drinking song. As Grisman, behind his mask, what? The singers drink, and a second later, they tear off their masks. Their throats catch fire. They foam at the mouth, twisting and writhing in agony. They drop like flies. Now the stage is filled with people, but Grisman is gone. All up on the catwalk, he prepares his next step-stealing blow. The performance continues tomorrow. See you there. Does Grisman, the homicidal maniac, dislike good music? Is that why the entire chorus at the opera house is writhing in agony, with swollen tongues, charred mouths, and hot coals searing their insides?
My stomach is on fire. I can't see.
Water!
Locked in a dressing room, Philip and Patricia break the door down and rush to the stage.
Listen, everybody. Grisman did it. He's an escaped madman.
And he's here, somewhere.
Where, boy? Where is he?
Look up there.
Up on the catwalk, way above the stage, Grisman has his fingers around the throat of a stagehand.
Let go of me! You don't stop Grisman. Nobody stops Grisman.
Grisman hurls the stagehand's body from the catwalk. He crashes to the stage, his limbs scattered about.
Let's go after him.
Now Grisman works quickly. With a knife, he begins to cut the ropes that hold a 2-ton sandbag.
Watch out!
Not be alive! Too late. Grisman's victims are reduced to a mass of red jelly. The stage is scarlet with blood and unrecognizable corpses. Did Patricia and Philip survive? Find out tomorrow. The amusement park carousel. Another playground for the escaped maniac, Grisman. Grisman's razor cuts through the neck of the carousel owner, and he slumps to the ground lifeless. His blood soaks into the earth. Grisman seizes Philip and Patricia.
Get on, carousel. Soon ride begins.
Soon the carousel is filled with excited youngsters, and very slowly Grisman begins to crank the wheel. The carousel begins to go around. The children laugh and wave to their parents.
Look at me, Daddy. I'm on a horsey. Giddy up now, giddy up. Faster, faster.
cranks the wheel faster. The carousel picks up speed. The children grip their horses tighter. Philip and Pat leap from the carousel and are thrown violently to the ground.
Round and round, faster, faster.
Now, with all his mad strength, Grisman turns the wheel, and the children are terrified. The glass eyes of the horses shine as the children are flung through the air and crash through the ground. Some roll under the shaking carousel and are torn in two. Sparks shoot up as the carousel comes to a crashing halt and collapses. The flames lick the horses' grinning faces as they melt and mix with the blood on the ground. Grisman, bathed in blood, drags Phil and Pat back to the hearse. He's satisfied until tomorrow.
Why has Grisman, the escaped maniac, parked his funeral hearse at the zoo? It's midnight as he drags Patricia and Philip into the gardens. The night guard stops him.
Here now, the zoo is closed. You'll have to... Hey, I know you. You're the nut that used to work here. What are you...
In a flash, Grisman's thick fingers are around the guard's throat. He drags him to the grizzly bear cage and hurls him over the iron grill. Grizzly bear is enraged. Her newborn cubs are in a cave. She charges at the guard, foam dripping from her jaws, her tiny eyes blazing. A powerful blow, and the guard's scalp is torn from his head. What was a face is now a mass of hanging flesh. The beast's jaws close on a man's neck.
Once guard laughed at Grisman, made a fool of Grisman. Now Grisman laughs.
Grisman forces Patricia and Philip into the hearse and disappears for a moment. He returns with a huge box.
Here, Grisman has present for nice boy and girl. Grisman show you.
Remember what your mother told you. Beware of Grisman's bearing gifts. You'll see what's in the box tomorrow.
The escaped madman, Grisman, has fed the grizzly bear in the zoo, fed him the night guard. Now he's forced Philip and Pat to the back of the hearse as he holds a flashlight over a closed box.
Children need company, need pet to play with. Grisman show you nice present.
Phil, it's a snake. Pat, don't move. They strike and they're frightened.
This snake is Mamba from Africa. Black Mamba. Sometimes Mamba kills just for fun. Grisman drive now. You'll stay in dark with Mamba.
14 feet long, a cousin to the cobra. The black mamba brings quick and agonizing death when it strikes.
Phil, what was that?
The mama. She's moving. Hold still, Pat.
Oh, I'm going to scream, Phil.
Pat, he'll strike for sure.
I can feel the snake on my arm. His head is right near my neck.
I don't know if poor Patricia will be with us tomorrow, but I do know that you'll be here, won't you?
The dark, in the back of a moving hearse, Patricia and Philip are alone with the pet. Grisman, the madman, has provided for them. A 14-foot black mamba, the deadliest serpent known to man. The snake is poised and ready to dispense an ample supply of his deadly venom. Suddenly, the hearse smashes into another car. The deadly reptile is stunned for a moment as it is flung into a corner.
Pat, get into the coffin.
Hurry!
The driver of the other car approaches Grisman.
Where'd you learn to drive? Hey, are you a person or are you a corpse? Maybe you be a corpse. There's something weird about you. What do you got back there? Look, I open window for you.
Obliging, Grisman opens the window and the man reaches inside.
Ah! Get it off me! Ah!
But
The deadly fangs are dug deep into his arm. Instantly, the poison does its work. The man's eyeballs roll up. His body twitches crazily. And then he slumps to the ground. The hearse moves on. You'll learn its deadly destination tomorrow. The authorities are unable to catch the madman Grisman, who leaves a trail of blood throughout the city. But what's this? Is ghastly Grisman on a shopping spree? He forces Patricia and Philip to visit the sporting goods department of Bracey's department store. A lone salesman approaches. Poor fellow. Hello. May I help you? I know you. You used to work here. What do you want?
Me take children hunting. Show me axe.
Nervously, the clerk opens the glass case and hands Grisman the razor-sharp axe. In a flash, Grisman pins him to the counter.
No! Let him go!
A shower of blood reddens the counter. The clerk's body twitches once, again, and then drops. Grisman picks up the head by the hair and laughs. Later in the day, in another part of town, a bus carries the Jefferson High School soccer team back to the country.
Hey, those uniforms we bought at Bracey's are great.
Hey, Marty, open the box and let's toss the new ball around.
Okay.
Ah! It's a guy's head! It's a guy's head!
A head it is. Blood still oozing from the severed neck. Horrified, the boy stands up, and the head rolls to the back of the bus. Grisman has a strange sense of humor, doesn't he? See you tomorrow. Outside a television studio, the magician Luigi the Great arrives for his TV performance. Philip and Patricia obey the maniac Grisman's instructions.
Autograph, please, Luigi.
Me too, please.
Of course, children.
Luigi doesn't see the monstrous Hulk behind him until...
Let me go. Yes, you go. But first, look.
What? You my old assistant, but Luigi fire you.
Yes. Now, audience cheer for Grisman the Great.
His powerful arm tightens around Luigi's neck and snaps. Grisman forces the children into the studio.
Music! Cameras! And now, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Luigi will saw his assistant in half. Lovely Natasha steps into the wooden box, and here is Luigi the Great.
Wearing an executioner's mask, Grisman enters, carrying a gleaming razor-sharp saw, and begins. Back and forth, the saw slices down, through the center of the box. Now Grisman displays his work. In one half is the still twitching top of Luigi's assistant, blood spilling to the ground. In the other half, the severed legs still kicking. Grisman laughs and bows. Is this Saturday Night Live? No. Monday night, dead. Tomorrow, Grisman will outdo himself. Not afraid to come back, are you?
What new forms of horrible death can the escaped madman Grisman think up? It's closing time at the Great Aquarium as Grisman drags Philip and Patricia inside. The guard is anxious to go home. Here now, the aquarium is closed. Wait a minute, I know you. You used to clean up around here until I had you fired.
Grisman remembers you.
Oh, Grisman suddenly springs. The guard is like a toy doll in his powerful arms. Grisman drags him to a huge tank and forces the guard's arm inside it.
Bill, what's in that tank?
Piranhas. They can kill a man in minutes. Yes, deadly piranhas. In seconds, the water is scarlet as the murderous creatures tear the flesh from the man's arm and leave only bone. But Grisman has only started. Now he drags the man to an enormous pool.
Bill, it's a great white shark!
The man screams for mercy, but Grisman only laughs as he hurls the guard into the pool. The smell of blood instantly attracts the great shark. A human arm surfaces, and then a leg. But moments later, even they have been devoured by the frenzied monster. Grisman is satisfied for the moment, but as always, tomorrow isn't there.
Shocked by the escaped maniac Grisman? There are some more shocks coming on our journey into terror. Inside the funeral hearse, Philip and Patricia wonder what bloody errand Grisman is on now.
Those people he killed, Pat. He used to work for them.
Until they fired him.
Oh, if we could only get away. Uh-oh, we stopped.
You come with Grisman.
Grisman rings the bell of a TV repair shop. An old man stands behind the glass door.
We're closed!
But Grisman crashes through the glass door, lifts the old man above him, and hurls him to the floor.
You used to deliver TV sets for me.
Grisman ties the man's hands behind his back with wire that cuts into his flesh.
Help!
He drags the old man to the back of an old TV set and ties his hands to the transformer. Grisman turns the TV set on. Thousands of bolts of electricity pass through his body. His charred flesh turns black. A swollen tongue protrudes. Blood runs from his eyes. Burning hair falls from his head. In seconds, a mass of ashes crumples to the floor. And Grisman is satisfied.
Grisman repairman.
Is your name on Grisman's list for tomorrow? Call back and see.
Agonizing death from a deadly serpent. A human head for a soccer ball. Where will the madman Grisman strike next? The hearse stops in the country. Young Philip and Patricia are locked in the back with the severed heads of Grisman's guards for company.
Look, Pat, I found a piece of paper Grisman's been carrying around. It's a list of all the people he's killed so far.
You mean a revenge list? Who's next?
Dr. Lucian Friendly, superintendent of Carfax.
That's the asylum he escaped from. If we could only warn the doctor.
Too late. In the bedroom of his country house, the good doctor is bound to a chair. Grisman ties an old-fashioned alarm clock round his waist.
Grisman count every second in asylum. Now you count. In 60 seconds, you die. 58, 57, 56.
Let me go!
43, 42.
Grisman prepares to leap from the window. The deadly clock ticks on and on. The doctor is going mad. He begins to laugh like one of his poor inmates.
Good. Now you belong in asylum. Now Grisman, doctor. 5, 4, 3.
Grisman leaps to the ground and runs. I'm afraid the good doctor has gone to pieces. Don't forget to wind your clocks tonight and be on time tomorrow when Grisman really gets into a stew.
Philip and Patricia are locked in the back of the funeral hearse. Are they the next to be butchered by the madman Grisman? The hearse stands in the dark forest. Philip peers out the window.
Oh, I see an iron gate with a sign.
It says Carfax. That's the asylum Grisman escaped from. What does he want around here?
Look, through those trees, he's coming.
Chuckling and jabbering to himself, Grisman opens the door of the hearse. Under his arm is a huge box covered with dirty canvas.
Come, we take walk in wood.
Bill, it's our turn next.
No, not yet. We go to visit old friends.
Grisman drags the youngsters through the woods and stops in front of a small cottage. He knocks.
Door's open.
Come in.
Grisman pushes the children inside. The couple stare at him.
Father, it's that man from the asylum.
Yes, last time Grisman asked you to hide him, you call asylum. Now, Grisman call on you.
Quickly, Grisman pushes the children outside. He opens the sinister box and slams the cottage door shut, trapping the couple inside with thousands of raging killer hornets. The maddened wasps attack. The couple's faces are covered with savage hornets. 1,000 tiny swords pierce the bodies of their victims. Their faces look like a swollen bunch of purple grapes. They scream, and the tiny killers invade their mouths. No, they cannot call the asylum. Not this time, but you can call again tomorrow. Maniac Grisman requires spectators as he seeks bloody revenge on those he believes wronged him. Young Philip and Patricia are his captive audience on his grisly journey into terror. Before dawn, Grisman drags the trembling children into the empty freight elevator of a 60-story office building.
Where are you taking us? Why don't you let us go?
Soon. Grisman finish with you soon.
The elevator halts on the 60th floor. Grisman smashes an office door in and forces the children to the window. A window washer works outside on his narrow wooden perch.
He wants fire, Grisman. Now, Grisman fire him.
The man recognizes Grisman and makes a move to come inside. Quickly, Grisman snaps one of the chains. The little perch collapses and dangles from the one remaining chain, 60 stories above the street. The window washer grabs the remaining chain and holds fast, swaying in the breeze.
No, please, let me in.
Don't let him fall. Helping him.
A hideous grin from Grisman as he reaches for a pair of pliers. Slowly, savoring every moment, he slices through the remaining chain. One link gives. The man screams for mercy, but the chain splits and he hurtles to a horrible death 60 stories below. He lies in the street, a limp, grotesque marionette, his blood soaking into the pavement. Now Grisman smiles at the children. Is their number finally up? Dial this number tomorrow and see. Locked in the funeral hearse, young Philip and Patricia read Grisman's death list.
2 more names, Pat. It says Professor School. What's it mean, Phil?
The hearse stops outside a high school and Grisman opens the door.
Come, we go to school. Grisman, good scholar.
The maniac drags him to the chemistry laboratory, where Professor Damus prepares tomorrow's experiment.
What are you people doing here?
You forget Grisman. Grisman wants clean chemistry room.
Yes, that clumsy fool I had banned from the school.
Enraged, Grisman leaps for the professor's throat. In seconds, he has him tied to a table.
Now, Grisman, Professor, make experiment.
Grisman grabs a sealed beaker labeled dangerous.
Don't touch that. That's sulfuric acid, H2SO.
Before he can finish, Grisman unseals the beaker and slowly drizzles its contents over the professor's face. The deadly acid does its work. White hot liquid penetrates his flesh, burning, scorching. He turns purple as rivers of blood run from his mouth. His eyes are unseeing black sockets. His mouth a meaningless cavern. The flesh dissolves and bones protrude. In seconds, all that remains is a white skeletal head, teeth clenched in agony. There is one more entry on Grisman's death list. Will Philip and Pat be Grisman's last victims? The escaped maniac Grisman hears the voices of those he killed for revenge.
You're fired, fool! Get out, idiot!
Look at that face. Get off these grounds.
They all gone. Grisman pay his debt.
But is Grisman's death list complete? His captive audience, Philip and Patricia, are locked in the back of his funeral hearse. Philip reads Grisman's ghastly list.
Pat, there's one entry left. It just says the 2.
Yes, that's right.
Grisman finish his work. He don't need you now to watch. know too much. You tell, but Griezmann makes sure you never tell.
What are you going to do?
Griezmann hide you in coffin with dead. No one hear you talk.
Bill, he's going to bury us alive.
You get in coffin now.
The children scream and pound, but no one hears as the hearse speeds through the city. Destination, cemetery. Will Philip and Patricia breathe their last in an airless coffin, or will a miracle save them? You'll have your blood-curdling answer tomorrow. Bill and Pat are locked inside the coffin. Griezmann, the madman, intends to bury them alive. His funeral hearse speeds through the city, but suddenly it smashes into the back of a truck. The coffin hits the rear door of the hearse, and the lid flies open.
Are you okay? Yes. We hit something. Look, the rear door is unlocked. Jump.
They leap from the hearse, but Griezmann is waiting. The madman hears a police siren, the only sound he fears. Griezmann panics.
Griezmann must hide.
Desperate, the maniac dives into the back of the damaged truck. In front, the angry truck driver tests his engine, then pulls a lever. A steel door in the back of the truck shuts. The madman is sealed inside a compactor with steel compressors that crush the strongest metal into dust. The steel walls of the compressor move toward each other. Griezmann screams, but no one hears. In seconds, steel will smash against steel, and the monster's unrecognizable remains will be mixed forever with the city's debris. Phil and Pat sob with joy and hug each other.
He's gone, Bill. We're free.
And just in time for tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving, Pat.
Oh, Bill, it'll be the greatest Thanksgiving ever.
Oh, Willie.
Oh, leave me alone, Eddie. I'll tell Mom.
Come here, Tammy, you brat. I'll teach you to snoop around my room.
Well, you took my comic book. I was just looking for him. Now give him back.
What if I did take them? What if I took them and sold them so I could buy me some records, huh? What are you going to do about it? If you tell Ma, I'll beat you black and blue. Anyway, she won't be back till tomorrow.
Oh, give him back. Or I'll go to the attic and tell Horace.
Go ahead, brat. Tell your friend, Horace. Go run up to the attic and see if your make-believe friend will save you from a good whipping.
No, get away from me.
Come down here, brat. Come down from that attic or I'll come up there and get you and you'll be real sore. Okay, brat, where are you? If I get my hands on you, I'm going to make me... Hey, who turned off the light? Tammy, is that you?
Just call me Horace. Hold on, here comes another chiller.
It's just after midnight. John and Elaine Peterson are sound asleep, but their little daughter Susie has her eyes wide open. She's thinking of that fat Joey Spiegel who had called her a scaredy cat at school. He poked at her and said she'd be too scared to meet the mirror man. How stupid, a silly man in a mirror. But just to say I told you so, she stared into a mirror in the dark, chanting the way Joey had told her.
I'm not afraid of the mirror man. I'm not afraid of the mirror man. Oh, this is silly. Joey Spiegel's such a...
So you're not afraid of me, Susie? Well, come to me.
Susie, wake up. School time. Oh, John, come quick.
What is it, Elaine? The mirror. It's all smashed. And there's blood all over the bed.
Oh, my God, John, her head. Where's her head?
If you haven't heard this entire message, please hold on. It will repeat.
You're a witch, Olivia. I'm through financing your withered film career.
Oh, stop those tiring threats, Roderick. You know they're meaningless as long as I have those charming photographs of you and that very talented starlet.
Now, my ambitious senator, if you'll excuse yourself, it's time for my nightly beauty cream.
Your nightly beauty cream. That's right, darling. Rub it in good and deep. Now, Olivia, give me those pictures.
Why do you persist in this foolishness?
Because you're 30 minutes from the nearest hospital, and in 10 seconds, the acid I laced into your beauty cream will be soaked into your skin. I might consider giving you the antidote.
No!
Yes, Olivia. Can you feel your face starting to bake and bubble like red-hot needles piercing your skin?
Stop it. Here they are, and the negatives, too. Just give me the antidote.
You stupid old hag. There's no antidote for acid. Good night, Olivia.
Oh, God, no. Come back, Roderick. Get it off my face. Oh, please get out.
Here comes another chewer.
A small, dark figure slithers down an alley and into a dank, dimly lit cellar. He hesitates for a moment to let his eyes adjust to the greasy yellow light. Then he drops a package wrapped in brown paper into the waiting hands of Jerry Parker. You're late. Is this it?
Yes, Mr. Parker. That is the doll.
That's not the best likeness, considering what I paid you. This better work.
I assure you, my friend, you'll find it most effective. Ah, yes, here is the needle.
Yeah, it looks nasty. Get ready, Mitchell, you backstabbing slam of a partner. You're not going to know what hit you. Through the heart, right?
Yes, my friend. Thrust it straight through as hard as you can.
Here goes. What did you do to me?
Well, I'm afraid, Mr. Parker, that when I told Mr. Mitchell of your intentions, he was more than happy to double what you paid me to reverse the magic. The doll was made in your image.
Blood gushed from Jerry Parker's chest as he crumpled to the floor.
You haven't heard this entire message. Please hold on. It will repeat.
That is the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen. It's just melting into the water. I'm so happy we had this week together, Phil.
I know, Michelle. It's been wonderful. Look at this beautiful beach, and not a soul in sight.
It's so quiet.
Hey, look at that. What is that thing on the sand?
I'm not sure. Dead jellyfish?
Looks more like a big rubber pancake. Boy, is that strange looking. Hey, Michelle, don't put your foot on
Oh,
it.
come on, Phil. It's dead. Wow, what a weird feeling. My foot's sinking right in.
Come on, Michelle. Get your foot out of there.
Look, I'm sinking past my ankle. How big could this thing be? Oh, no, my foot's stuck. Phil, help me out.
I told you not to put...
Oh, Phil, something's burning me. It's eating right through my shoe. Help me.
Oh, my God. I can't pull you out. I gotta go for help.
No, Phil, don't leave me. It's breaking me down. Oh, it hurts so bad. Phil, help me. It's eating me alive.
Here comes another chewer.
Yeah?
Hello, Mr. Lowry. This is Bernie from the Duchess Art Gallery. I was Mr. Harrington's assistant at the auction today, remember?
Oh, yes, Bernie, it's after midnight. Mrs. Lowry and I were just about to go to sleep. Why are you calling me now?
Mr. Lowry, it's a full moon tonight. Don't go to sleep on that bed with the lights out. They'll get you if you do.
What are you talking about? This bed's an antique treasure. Damn comfortable, too. What is this, some kind of scam to get it back and jack up the price?
No, Mr. Lowry. The bed's cursed. Something old. Egyptian, maybe. We end up reselling it over and over. Mr. Harrington would have fired me if I tried to warn you this afternoon, but there are things in it. Big, hairy, crawling things. They come out in the dark.
I've had enough of this ridiculousness. I'm going to call Harrington in the morning, and you will lose your job. Goodbye, Bernie.
What was that, honey?
Nothing, dear. Now, just turn out the light and let's get some sleep. What the heck?
Oh, my God! Get him out! Get him out!
Heard this entire message. Please hold on. It will repeat.
The old storekeeper peered up at Mrs. Rutledge as she browsed through the dusty shelves of his curiosity shop. You might find a suitable gift for your husband over there.
Oh, thank you, but I don't think there's anything here that would... Oh, my, what are those horrible things?
Toes? Oh, you mean the gargoyles. It's a little hobby of mine.
You collect those hideous statues?
Not really. They just seem to collect themselves. Would you like to buy one?
You can't be serious. Those are the ugliest excuses for art I've ever seen.
Madam, keep your voice down. You don't want to offend them.
Offend them? You're kidding. Why, those disgusting things should be destroyed as soon as... Ah!
Suddenly, Mrs. Rutledge found herself surrounded by the gargoyles, all green and slimy and very much alive.
Oh, help me! Get them away!
With sharp claws, they dragged her to the floor. The old man leaned over the counter with a smile. Welcome to the collection.
Here comes another chewer.
Old Zeke finally finished plowing the last row of corn. Wiping the sweat from his brow, he looked down and started talking to his mule.
You know, old girl?
He wheezed, squinting across the field.
That there's the best scarecrow we've ever had. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Yes, sir, old gal, I think we're going to have us a bumper crop of... Hey, dagnabbit, Here I am giving him a good word, and he lets two crows sit right down next to him.
Zeke dropped his harness and angrily trod over to the straw-hatted figure drooping from the post.
Hey, I'm warning you. You better start doing your job and get those birds away from here. Oh, please, mister. Please let me down. I swear to God, I didn't know I was trespassing. It hurts. It hurts so bad. I can't stand it. Stop whining. You want me to put another nail in you? Now get busy now. Best damn scarecrow I ever had. Oh, God, somebody help me. Please, somebody help me.
If you haven't heard this entire message, please hold on. It will repeat.
Home at last. I thought I'd never get out of that high-priced zoo they call a supermarket. Imagine raising the price of coffee $1 from last week. The nerve. Kind of makes me feel good I didn't pay for that new yogurt he had on display. After all, I honestly didn't see it fall into my handbag till after I was outside the store. That's not really shoplifting. Oh, Alice, you gotta stop this talking to yourself. People will think, oh my goodness, it's after 2 already. I almost missed one life to live. Well, let's see what this new yogurt tastes like.
We advise you, this is something for you this time. So once again, to conclude this special news bulletin, authorities have discovered that a recent shipment of Bella's yogurt has been contaminated with a deadly chemical. Anyone who has purchased a container of this brand should return it immediately to the store where it was bought. I repeat.
Oh, my God. Oh, no, it can't be. Oh,
Hey, Frank, bring that lantern over here. I think I found it.
I'm coming, Jack. You know, this is the third generator in this part of the sewer that went down this week. The supervisor told me that it... Holy Toledo, look at that. It looks like something ripped it out of the wall.
Sure does. Here, give me those tools. How do you figure it? There's nothing in a sewer I know of that can do this.
Yeah, not even in Manhattan. Ooh-wee, something stinks down here.
Of course it stinks, Frank. It's a sewer.
Oh, I mean something really smells bad, like year-old tuna casserole. Was that you, Jack?
No, but I think I felt something move in the water.
Wait a minute. I think I felt the jack and stuck my leg. Help me. It's pulling me down. Jack, help me. It's pulling me down. Frank, where are you? Let go of me. Oh, God, let go.
If you haven't heard this entire message, please hold on. It will repeat.
Bum in tattered clothes was shuffling through a can full of garbage when he pulled out what appeared to be an old tarnished oil lamp.
Well, what do you know? I bet I can get $5 for... Wait a minute. What's to say on the side here? Rub this lamp and be granted 3 wishes. But beware, for I am an evil genie. Wow, 3 wishes. How evil could he be? Well, here goes. I wish I had some new clothes.
There was a bright flash of light, and suddenly the bum was covered in a fine silk suit.
Geez, this is great. Now I wish I had a box of good cigars.
Another flash, and the box rested in his hands. He popped one of the fat cigars between his lips.
Now, I wish I had something to light this with.
Suddenly, the bum's skin burst into flame. The glowing cigar tumbled softly to the sidewalk as he ran screaming down the street. At the swank restaurant Caplo, the owner, Mrs. Amberson, confronts Marcel, her chef.
Marcel?
Oui, madame.
Don't oui, madame, me, you revolting little man. You came to this job with a wonderful reputation, which you have never upheld. Your food lacks imagination. It has no flair, no style.
Ah, madame wants something new, something now.
Exactly.
Like casserole, yes. A dish with a rare sort of meat. Didn't you once tell me, Mrs. Amberson, that a restaurateur should be willing to put something of themselves into every meal?
Yes, Marcel, why are you looking at me like that? What are you doing with that cleaver?
You are a bitter woman, madame. But with a few spices, I think your patrons will be able to stomach you quite well.
Yeah.
Shall we work on casserole Amberson, madame?
Hey, Frank, bring that frozen daiquiri over here. I'm getting thirsty.
I'm coming, Jack. You know, the supervisor said the folks at Tales of Terror paid for this whole vacation. The airfare, the limos, even our own private tropical island.
Well, why not? We deserve it.
I'll say. Geez, this is a life, ain't it, Jack? Just lying here on the warm sand, the palm trees swaying gently over our heads, and, holy Toledo, I must be going bonkers.
What's the matter, Frank?
The trees. They seem to be getting taller. I never seen trees grow that fast.
Come on, Frank. Trees don't get... Oh, my God, they're not growing. We're sinking. This must be quicksand.
Oh, help me, Jack. I
hate getting sand in my shorts. Quick, Frank, grab my arm. I can't. I'm being sucked down. Oh, my God, me too. Help! Somebody help us!
It's late in the evening, and you're standing on a remote beach in the West Indies, digging for a fortune in gold. A week ago, when you met Charlie Perkins in the hotel bar, you would have thought he was just a nut with a phony treasure map. But then you asked around and found out that long ago there was an old pirate's treasure buried somewhere on the island. So maybe good old Charlie wasn't a nut, just a friendly soul who wanted someone to share the work and the wealth. He didn't know that you don't like to share, and so one night you killed Charlie, chopped him up, and buried him in the sand. Now you're digging. Suddenly your shovel pokes against metal. The chest. Jaws was light. Chuckling with greed, you open a heavy iron lid and peer inside. Charlie's bloody head stares up at you laughing, and then the lid suddenly slams down across your neck, and your head snaps off into the treasure chest.
You haven't heard this entire message. Please hold on. It will repeat.
It's evening in a small honeymoon cottage just outside of town.
Oh, Tony, darling, at last we're alone.
Yes, Denise, just the two of us.
See, I told you it wouldn't be so hard. Adam got what he deserved, the old fool. He never realized I only married him for his money. Oh, I'll never forget the look on his face when I told him about the poison. Oh, it was magic.
Yes, it was.
And now that Adam is dead and buried, I have his money and you have me. Oh, kiss me, Tony. Oh.
Suddenly, a large piece of flesh slid off his face into her palm. As he smiled, the rest of his flesh peeled away like a blood-soaked mask. He pushed his oozing, maggot-filled skull close to her lips.
No, Tony.
Not Tony, darling. Adam, kiss me. There it is, Dr. Snell. I don't get it, Dr. Michaels. If Professor Hawthorne's discovery is so valuable, he keeps it locked up in a huge steel vault. Why doesn't he post some guards outside? I'm not sure. It seems more like he wants to keep something in than someone out. Well, I don't believe for one moment a story about this prehistoric valley. Hogwash. I say Hawthorne's wasting the museum's money on these ridiculous expeditions. Where are you going, Dr. Snell? I'm going in there and prove what a fake Hawthorne really is. Prehistoric indeed. Wait, I'll go with you. The humidity. Oh! I can't see a thing. Would you turn on the light, Dr. Michaels? Dr. Michaels! In the middle of the Missouri plains, a station wagon comes to a stop in front of a small food stand.
Anybody home? Sure enough. Oh, hi there. Guess I'm lucky I saw your sign. I've been traveling for hours. I could eat a horse. Well, this really is your lucky day. You're my 100th customer this year. Really? That's right. And by tradition, the 100th customer of each year gets special attention. Wards off bad luck. Yeah, that's terrific. But what I really need is a caddy bar. Sorry. All I sell is fresh meat. Meat? Yep. Which is why you ought to be mighty proud to be my 100th customer.
As the old man spoke, he brought out a huge, rusty meat cleaver.
Hey, what are you doing? It's tradition, Sonny. You're my 100th customer. You don't want to give me bad luck now, do you? No! Get back! No!
Inside the exquisite Le Grand restaurant, Joyce and Mary excused themselves from their dates and headed down 2 narrow flights of stairs into the ladies' room.
Well, Mary, what do you think of Ron? Oh, I think he's real cute. If you're not careful, I might decide to steal him away from you and... Mary? Mary?
Joyce turned around. Now she was all alone in the bathroom. She walked over to where Mary had been standing and noticed something gooey dripping out of a large open air vent.
What is this stuff?
Suddenly, 2 slimy tentacles lashed out from the vent and wrapped around her throat. An oozing, blubbery, snake-like head lurched up out of the darkness, drooling and quivering. Its fleshy skin spread over her face like jelly before pulling her down into the shaft.
If you haven't heard this entire message, please.
And the winner of this year's Best Actor Award is Jordan Kane.
It was the greatest moment in Jordan Kane's career. At last, after years as a struggling actor clawing his way to the top, he had achieved his life's ambition.
Oh, you can't imagine how pleased I am to receive this award. I want to thank my agent, my producer, director and co-stars, and of course, all of you for making this possible. Bless you all.
But for Kane, the sweet taste of success turned bitter when he arrived home that night.
What are you doing here?
The man with the yellow eyes and black beard sat by the fireplace, gazing up at him with a devilish smile. Now, Jordan, is that any way to speak to the man most responsible for your success? I just dropped by to extend my congratulations on your award and to remind you of the terms of our agreement.
As far as I'm concerned, we no longer have an agreement. I didn't know what I was doing at the time I signed it. You can't hold me to it.
But, Jordan, you signed the contract in your own blood.
Well, I'm breaking my contract, so sue me.
Jordan, I must warn you, there is a penalty for breaking the agreement. In fact, I doubt anyone will ever hire you again.
Don't be so sure. Now that I'm an established star, I can get any part I want. I don't need your help anymore.
In that case, I'll leave you. But first, I suggest you take a look in a mirror. Perplexed, Kane walked over to the looking glass hanging in the foyer. What he saw made him shriek with horror. Staring back at him in the mirror was a face without flesh, a grinning skull with huge eyeballs, throbbing veins and raw muscle.
Oh, my God! What have you done to me?
Goodbye, Jordan. Goodbye, and good luck.